Okay guys, so welcome back to the channel, another video which is going to literally blow your mind. Let's look at the Fingal Head Causeway, which is named after the fabled Irish giant Finn McColl, Finn Mac Cumminghall in Gaelic, known as Fingal in Scotland. Looking at the structure of these places, guess what? If you compare them with the tendon structure and the microscopic fibers in effectively muscles, you have quite big similarities, which is really weird, right? The Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland and the Fingal Caves in Scotland are also named after this mythical giant. The name Fingal derives from the medieval Viking settlement north of Dublin known as Fine Gael, land of the foreigners. So this is a very interesting one, guys, and it kind of lets to believe, like, what are we looking at here? This is just so bizarre, right? Also, another very interesting aspect is that the causeway's name in Irish is translated as follows: stepping stones of the Fromgrey. The Fomorians are a race of supernatural beings in Irish mythology who lived beyond the sea. They were sometimes also described as giants. So effectively we see that this place, which is quite interesting, of course, in Ireland, in Scotland, and even like in Fingal Head in Australia, represents linkings to different mythological beings, as in giants, okay? And also even the formations here are resembling of what you could see of what? Petrified muscles, tendons, fiber muscles. Like, it just looks very bizarre and very interesting that we have this here, which kind of shows to us that maybe things are not as crazy as we thought, and this has some connection to the old giants, the old Nephilim. Just begs the question, like, these ancient structures and why they look like this, which reminds you of effectively that, particularly the fibers in a human body. The tendons. I mean, guys, this is very interesting stuff, right? Now, we also have to talk about an amazing device, the Sun devices, which would effectively transform, so the Sun transformers to radiant energy by Austin Mouchot. At the end of the 19th century, these transformations as radiant energy of the Sun were studied by a professor of mathematics. It would heat without wood, without coal, without oil, and of course without any gas, with nothing but the sun. Effectively, he could therefore, according to need, boil a pot, distill a liquor, roast a poultry, operate a pump or a steam boiler, and even use it in a motor. The newspaper Le Rappel in France presents the work of Augustin Mouchot in 1878, qualifying him as a modern Prometheus. So these devices were very efficient, and they would generate and attract, they were like antennas which were basically concentrating the energy from the sun, generating the energy. And now we have what? Polluting, non-recyclable solar panels, which are actually very bad because after a while they stop working. But these devices made by this man, this genius of a man, were much more efficient. But of course there was a single problem. This device was very, very good, and it was, effectively it would give you free energy and you don't have to renew it because it was a device which would last for a very long time. And because of this, the modern people from the modern world, modern companies, petrol owners, all these big enterprises and companies did not like that the solar powered engine was created by this man. He was literally seen as a person like light years in the future away, and it just shows again that technology was suppressed in the 19th century quite heavily, because there was an interest, of course, of abusing fossil fuels, because that would give certain profit to certain individuals and not to the average human being. And finally, guys, to end this video, we need to talk about the pineal gland, or the third eye, which is one of the most heavily targeted and poisoned glands in the human body, mainly because this very important piece serves as a connection between the physical and the spiritual realm, which we have seen it represented back in the past. According to our ancient ancestors and their teachings, it is the key of higher state of consciousness. In the ancient Egypt, for example, the pineal gland was known as the seat of the spirit and the soul. Jesus said that the eye is the lamp of the body, and in the eye it is clear, your body will be filled with light. This relates to the eye of intuition, the pineal gland, and seeing things clearly and in truth. A closed pineal gland means that the mind can be easily deceived as it struggles to understand beyond what is presented in front of it. For most of the population, the pineal gland is completely calcified and closed, meaning spiritual death. There are ways to cleanse this pineal gland, of course, which obviously many people know. Fluoride is one example of something that, affects your pineal gland quite heavily. Some of you guys already know about that. But remember, very important, in ancient times, this representation was really important because people knew that the pineal gland is effectively one of the most important organs in the human body. It was literally crucial for you to achieve that enlightenment, connection, that world which is beyond what you think it is. And of course, people who control and calcify the pineal gland in a population are able to dictate what? The truth of our society. So guys, that's it for today's video on this. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and as always, see you in the next upload.